You know what? I will never get tired of that song. I never get tired of that song by Chloe Bailey. Oh my God, I love that song so much. But that's a remix. That is a remix right there. Okay, so welcome everybody who has joined me and the lurkers. As you can see, I got some tea. This is a part of my series. This is a part of my series called Unveiled. Shocking history in Black America that has been either covered up or not talked about much. Okay? Let me get my notes. Ooh, hold on, I got to get my notes for this one. Okay? Now, I'm going to share something with you. Hey, Anna. But a lot is going to shock you as well. A lot is going to shock you. It's going to shock you and it's not going to shock you. Okay. Also, the article that I'm going to read, I haven't read all of it either. We're going to read it together. Everything, the article, when this video, when I'm done later, I will post the link in the description box to where I got all this information. All right. So, okay. Again, if there's any audio issues, I'm sure many of you will let me know. So let's get into this tea. And if you haven't seen my other videos, go on right here on my channel and go to my playlist. Go to the playlist section. I have a playlist. This series is called Unveiled. And look at the historical things that I showed. Okay. Also, if you like my series, she put race to the side in one. And yes, baby, I will be continuing the series that y'all love so much. Check out that playlist. All the videos of each video is right there. Okay, so let's get into this. As you can see, I said, say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. GI soldiers abandoned Black women in the 1950s. And you saw what I put in the title. I'm not talking about the Asian women. I'm talking about the Black women from this time that were always being compared to. You know, Black women in the 50s, according to a number of Black men, were feminine, fit, and friendly. You know, Black women were smaller. Well, hey, the food wasn't GMO, and there's a lot of other factors to that. But hey, thinner, reportedly more friendlier, a ride or die more, not so independent, all of that stuff. This is before welfare, the welfare epidemic. This is before out of wedlock. Yes, y'all, this is before all the things they say as to why they have abandoned Black women in record numbers this year, last year, the past 20 years, and all of that, increasing, right? So, hey, Katina. Okay, so, yeah, Tia says, were Black women modern women back in the 50s? What's the excuse then? Okay, so look, you see the Jet magazine. We're gonna, this is gonna be good, okay? I couldn't help, honestly, but think about David Carroll. The late David Carroll. He had been over here a few times. Y'all know who David Carroll was. He wasn't completely manosphere. I noticed that he would roast both Black men and women, but he had some of those manosphere ways, right? But one thing I remember that he said years ago, and it's true, he had in a video showing interracial couples from a long time ago saying, why do Black people in America act like you have amnesia, as if this race mixing is some new phenomenon, and it's not. It isn't at all. I would say the amount of Black men with open legal interracial relationships is record numbers. You know, no one has ever seen it like this before. It's existed even, you know, more Black women, but we know that swirling isn't new. And we also know other things happen too that isn't always consensual. But, you know, times are changing. It's legal. Now you can marry who you want. People are more open with it and not hiding it. But Black men still date interracially 3 times the rate and more than any other group of men out of any race on the planet, really, and in this country, right? So, but yeah, David Carroll had said, why do black people act like this is some new event? I mean, it was a little bit different and not, we're going to get into that, right? So you see the Jet magazine. Do Japanese wives make better wives? This Jet magazine came out in 1953. The article that I'm going to show you was from the year 1950. 1950. And you know what? We are in the age of Aquarius, as they say, right? Shout out to all the Aquariuses out there, the intelligent, loving your freedom, blunt, a little quirky, just a tad bit, honest Aquariuses. It's a lot, you know. But we're in the age of Aquarius, which is considered to be the age of knowledge and truth. And in the Bible, it says what? The truth shall come to light, or nothing will be hidden in darkness. Anne-Marie says Team Aquarius. Okay, so I have a lot of Aquariuses in my family, and I am an air sign like an Aquarius, right? So I will have to say many Black women have been lied on by a number of Black men. Complete, absolute slander against a lot of Black women. A smear campaign against Black women. Telling men around the world and women in this country that, oh, well, we're dating interracially because, you know, Black women are this, Black women are that, you know. Anything they can say to make it seem like it's the Black woman's fault, why Black men stray or want other groups of women, other ethnicities, races, or whatever. But it's true. It's not anything new. I mean, it's happened throughout history. God knows we know that. Even before slavery in this country. And it's happened throughout with all humans. I want to say it's not a crime to love someone. It's not I'm not one of these Black women. It's not a crime if he think an Asian woman or a white woman is pretty. A lot of God's creations are pretty and handsome. There ain't nothing wrong if you think the woman is pretty and you like her. My issue is a number like to lie. They never just say you like the woman, but some of them don't do that. It's always, it was the Black, she did this, the Black woman did that, this and that. Oh, I had to go because this and that. Or in some cases, they don't want to be Black and they can't just say that either because it'll make them look bad. You know, people will be quick to say that to Black women and all of that, you know. It's a lot. It's not just one way. But some of them just can't say, okay, I like the woman, I was attracted, and some might be attracted because she isn't Black. That exists a lot as well. It's a lot of different things. And, you know, but they love to kind of lie and make it seem like they've never interracially dated or this is something new for them. They've never, in some cases, preferred women who weren't Black and stuff. Oh, I'm telling you, what I'm about to show and read to you, it's like, oh, my goodness. Okay. And, all right. So a number of them, what can you say, Black man? What I'm going to show you. You can't blame lashes because that wasn't popular in 1950. You can't blame lace fronts because that was not even in existence in 1950. You can't blame severe obesity because a lot of Black women, as you can see in the photos here, a lot of Black women during that time were not obese. You can't blame out of wedlock birth rates because it wasn't nearly on the level that it is now. You can't blame welfare because the welfare epidemic and stuff, that didn't happen until the 70s or 80s, like on high numbers like that, not the 50s, right? You can't blame them so-called being independent and all of that because we all know from grandma's era, a number of them were severe ride or dies for their men and everything they say. They always love to compare modern Black women to Black women. This is your grandma's era, right? Your grandma, great grandma. And what I'm going to read to you is like, See, I'm giving some receipts today. A number of them will say anything. APBX Bunny. I know some things on the internet, but tell me what that stands for. I've heard it before. TBMOTH. Tell us what that means. If we're not, some of us are not familiar with that. Okay. So Anna says it's easier to blame black women. I know a number of them do that instead of just being honest, saying some black men just didn't want black women. Some of them were not attracted to black women, no matter what she looked like, if she was pretty or not. Some of them wanted a different experience. Some of them wanted to escape. Some of them just didn't care. Some of them, it's always coming down to the blame thing. Anne-Marie says, yeah, okay, TBMOTH stands for took black men out of the house. Okay, thank you for letting us know what that means. Yes, they do love to say that it was welfare and all of that stuff. And you even look, I have this picture and I'm going to show you everything. This is the Asian woman, the Japanese woman. This is the 1950s, 1953. And you have a whole movement right now of the passport bros and all of that, who I wish well. Go on and find your wife, whatever you want to do, even though most of them don't get married. They just run through women in different countries, and they get angry if she wants child support or to be provided for. A number of them, or sleep with all the local women outside of, all of that. But they promote, the Asian woman is like who they promote the most. Thailand and the Filipinas is top choice right now that they're promoting so much. And if it's not Asian women, it's Brazil. Well, it used to be Brazil. Something happened and they said Brazilian women got Americanized. And now they don't want Brazil. They promoted DR, Dominican Republic, but now they don't want to go there because I heard they don't want them there and all of that. And now it's Colombia. Colombia has been the new getaway go-to place to a number of them. So, okay. And speaking of them saying that the Asian woman is so feminine and so about marriage and family and top choice, there's actually a movement in South Korea of South Korean women have a whole movement. It's called the Four No's feminist movement, where women say no to dating, sex, marriage, and having children. It swoops across South Korea because becoming a wife is increasingly seen as a burden amongst Asian South Korean women. And it also, in another article, they said they are tired of the patriarchy. They are tired of being used for sex, or disrespected, and all of that. A number of them. So Miss Me with All Asian Women are about serving men and all of that stuff like that, and all of that, because they have a whole movement, as I speak, in South Korea of women refusing to be with men. Now, that wouldn't be me. I would just get, you want to have the right man, but they're like fed up altogether. And there's been a severe baby decline in many Asian countries and marriage decline. So, Jet Magazine in 1953. 1953. Do Japanese women make better wives? Let me see it. Hold on. Let me zoom in. It says something else. Okay. Okay. No. Do Japanese women make better wives? 15 cent back in the day. 1953, right? This was published. So this obviously isn't anything new with them. And look, I mean, Jet Magazine, it was a lot of interesting titles on these magazines back then. But do they make better wives, the Japanese woman? Okay. But this isn't anything new. I've shown this before, like 3 or 4 years ago, these clippings. But look what it says at the bottom. Why musicians choose white wives. Why didn't they say why black men musicians? Be specific. Why black men musicians choose white wives. This also was published in 1953. This is also 1953. I don't even remember fully if interracial marriage was even legal yet during that time. Maybe. But I can tell you this, civil rights era, the tensions, they claim all this oppression and it was so hard. No, they were still marrying white women before the 50s and during the 50s, and they had a whole article on the cover why musicians, these black men musicians, choose white wives. And I have to say, I mean, let's just keep it all the way real. There will always be people in every race that swirls. It's never going to be 100% of people who don't. Let's just keep it all the way real. You know, I like men of the other races. Not all black women do. But there will always be people with every race who's open or who does date different ethnicities, different cultures, different religions, all of that. But no one has seen it like the black man, especially in America and in England, where it's like, nah, this is not just some you like, not on these type of levels, on that number. Again, it's natural, some will, but where you're all over the place on social media, making up so many different excuses and stereotyping all black women and is welfare out of wedlock kids. Ironically, that y'all create out of wedlock kids. Your woman is on welfare because you don't protect her and provide for her financially. If you didn't want her on welfare, you get her off welfare and you take care of her. Okay? A lot of things that's just complete bullcrap. So I stumbled upon this, and this is how I was able to look more into this article I'm going to share with you. This was on TikTok. This was the year 1950. And the creator says black women weren't just being ignored. I'm sure some black men were just as cruel then as they are today. They've been uplifting other races of women over you. So I'm going to show you, this is a part of the article, and we're going to read even more of it. This was written in 1950 by a newspaper article in Baltimore. It says in September 1950, a newspaper article published in Baltimore says that Afro-American attracted attention of African-American communities on both sides of the Pacific over the intimate sex, you got to be careful. I'm trying to think of a better word. You got to be careful of the words you use on here. Sexual, intimate, I'll say that, relationship between black men, black male soldiers, and Japanese women in Japan under the U.S. military occupation. Okay, the GIs in Tokyo lavish girls gifts in Japan, the Japanese girls, and shun their own clubs. This is the article, I kid you not. It says that the black men GIs in Tokyo, Japan, lavish gifts on Japanese girls and shun their own clubs. Afro-American correspondent James Hicks revealed that gender conflicts existed between African-American men and women in Japan over the issue of black GI men who were dating Japanese women. Hicks reported, okay, let's zoom in even more, y'all, because it's kind of a little blurry for me over here. It says colored women, black women, in civilian duty in occupied Japan are being ignored by colored black men soldiers stationed here, to the point that many of the women, the black women, swear that once they get back to the United States, stateside again, they will never as so much speak to a colored black man soldier again who has been stationed in Japan. Oh, Lord. This article fueled a series of controversies over black-Japanese romance, sex relations, and marriages in African-American communities across the Pacific during the early 1950s. Listen, ain't nothing like having some receipts. Oh, my goodness. Again, I will post where I saw this later on tonight in the description box and probably the first comment. Okay, so let's get into it now. This is it. These are clips from the article. It says cold. Now, this is actually the first time, y'all, I'm reading some of this. with you. I've read just a little bit, but some of it I haven't, right? Okay, so this is it. It says Cold War Black Orientalism, Race, Gender, and African American Representations of Japanese Women during the early 1950s. All right, now let's see what they got to say what black men soldiers was doing in Japan, ignoring the black women who were also stationed there. Okay. 1950s, before welfare, before lashes and lace fronts. Feminine, fit, and friendly black women from the 1950s. Black men got to Japan and showed they aim. Okay. It says, introduction. In September of 1950, a newspaper. Hold on. I'm going to have to take notes too on this. Okay. In September of 1950, a newspaper article published in Baltimore, again, attracted attention of African American communities on both sides of the Pacific over the intimate, sexual relationship between black men soldiers and Japanese women in Japan under U.S. military occupation. Got to make it a little bit bigger. Under U.S. military occupation. Under the sensational title, GIs in Tokyo lavish gifts on Japanese girls and shun their own clubs, African-American correspondent James Hicks revealed that the gender conflicts existed between African-American men and women in Japan over the issue of black GI soldiers who were dating Japanese women. He said colored women in the, I'm repeating it. Okay, it says colored women in the civilian duty in occupied Japan are being ignored by colored soldiers, black men stationed here, to the point that many of the women swear they will, once they get stateside again, they will never as so much speak to a colored black man soldier again who was stationed in Japan. This article fueled a series of controversies over the black Japanese romance, sexual relationships, and marriage in African American communities across the Pacific during the 1950s, early 1950s. This paper aims to reconsider the U.S. Orientalists. I got to make it bigger. I hate this. I can't. It's too little on my screen. All right. This paper aims to reconsider the U.S. Orientalist discourse of Japanese women in general, and these relationships with U.S. Army soldiers, and particularly during the Cold War period, from the perspective of African Americans. The current research on this topic has centered on the mainstream U.S. media and cultural representations of GI Japanese marriage, which has focused mostly on white and Japanese couples. Yeah, the white man always has a reputation of getting with the Asian woman overseas and stuff. But no, they're saying that it's not just white men. The Japanese American press coverage of marriages between Nisei soldiers and Japanese women. I ain't never heard of that word, Nisei. Japanese women who were in intimate relationships. Japanese women who were in intimate relationships with African American men soldiers were central to the post-war African American discursive investment in Japan, which I call the Cold War Black Orientalism. In the changing international relationship between the U.S. and Japan and the domestic transformations in racial and gender regimes in the U.S., this paper examines the post-war African-American representations of Japanese women whose international interracial relationships with black men GIs took the form of romance, marriage, and even prostitution in major black newspapers and magazines during and immediately after the U.S. military occupation. Chief Raka says right now in Hawaii, a single black woman is in the minority and she has several options. Okay. APBX Bunny says, I was in the military, and this is modern times, and they were ignoring the black women soldiers. Okay, let's see. Hold on. Okay, let me make it bigger. Just about four more articles, four more things to show. Okay, it says, okay, in mainland Japan in 1945 through 1952. 1945 through 1952. This study stresses the trans-Pacific dimension in the discursive formation of the Cold War Black Orientalism. In the two different but interconnected contexts of occupied Japan and the U.S. home front, it also focuses on the gendered and racialized agencies of African American men and women who engaged in the debate over Black GI Japanese women intimacy and sexuality from both sides of the Pacific as major actors in shaping the post-war U.S. Japanese and Black Japanese relationships. This paper argues that African American men and women employed and even exploited the dominant sexual and gender images of Japanese women in the contemporary U.S. Orientalist discourse in racial and gendered terms in the cross-national discursive spheres in occupied Japan and in the U.S., through which they grappled with the issues of race relations, gender, convention, sexual practice, Asian ethnicity, and global politics. Hi, I'm lovely. And global politics within the Cold War, imperatives of occupation, militarization, international interrogation, and the cultures of containment, as well as the post-war African American politics of race, gender, class, sex, and intimacy. In occupied Japan, African American men and women resorted to U.S. Orientalist representations of Japanese femininity from the opposite sides to achieve the gendered form of empowerment within a specific militarized context of their encounter and interaction with Japanese women. Interesting. On the state side, I'm looking at the comments too. Okay. Let me see. I lost where I was at. Give me a second. Okay, it says on the state side, African Americans invested in the U.S. Orientalist discourse of U.S. Asian interrogation, which historian Christina Klein calls Cold War Orientalism, in racialized and gendered ways to reconstitute the image of the Japanese brides of Black GIs or the women of the former enemy nation as new members of their racial and national communities in the U.S. within the boundaries of the post-war Black politics of interracial marriage, the cultures of domestic containment and anti-communism in the U.S. foreign relations during the early Cold War period. Hey, Miss Rose. Okay, this says here, the major purpose of this paper is to critically revisit the thesis in Alex Lubin's In Romance and Rights, The Politics of Interracial Intimacy, written in 1945 through 1954. Okay, one of the few works of scholarship focusing on African American representations of Black men, GIs, and Japanese women intimacy and sexuality in the context of the U.S. occupation of Japan. Okay, and this is an analysis and everything of the paper. So, I mean, they're just really, you have Black men who are being discriminated against, and they're trying to see, what's going on. Okay, you don't have rights in your country and all that. You're fighting on behalf of the U.S. So what is this like for you where you're not even respected in your own country, but here you are in Japan, and you're pursuing the Japanese women, and are they an enemy to you or not? Because they're not American and you're representing America, but then here you are over here having relations with the Japanese women. And they mentioned something about femininity and all this other stuff, but Okay, let's see. Let's go to the next. Okay. I know a lot of you are not shocked. Okay, it says the magazine representations. Okay, it's examining these relationships and everything in Japan, and the magazine representations of GI interracial intimacy in Europe and Asia. Yeah. The GI interracial intimacy in Europe and Asia suggests that while the politics of interracial intimacy in Europe. Hold on now. Let me make it big. No. Well, that's okay. All right. It says, okay. While the politics of interracial intimacy in Europe posited white women as the appropriate judges of black. Ain't this something, child? It says that it posted white women as the appropriate judges of black masculine desirability. So white women get to decide if the black man is really a man, if he's desirable. Her opinion is what matters. If she want him, that means something. The same politics in Japan posited Japanese women as endangering black patriarchy. As Lubin correctly points out, the black press was instrumental in sustaining the patriarchal privileges of African American men GIs with respect to Japanese women by re-articulating the influential U.S. representations of Asian female sexuality and docility. However, Lubin's discussion of black press representations of black Japanese intimacy narrowly focuses on the stereotypical reformation of Japanese women within the traditional framework of Orientalism and its implications on black patriarchy. First, he fails to capture the gender dynamics in this discursive formation process in which African American women, as well as men, contested over the notions of Japanese femininity in the larger international domestic political context of militarization, occupation, the cultures of containment, and U.S.-Japanese integration during the early Cold War period. Secondly, Lubin overlooks the trans-Pacific dimension in the politics of black Japanese intimacy, paying exclusive attention to the romantic, sexual relationships between black men and Japanese women on the side of occupied Japan. He does not take the black representations of Japanese brides on the American side into consideration at all. Although his broad definition of interracial intimacy includes interracial SCX, marriage, and romance. Next, Lubin's narrow attention to the intimate spheres of black Japanese relationships in occupied Japan ignores another but more explorative form of the GI Japanese sexual interaction, which affected the construction of the militarized sense of masculinity among black soldiers, prostitution. Finally, Lubin does not consider the specific historical experience of African American men and women in occupied Japan who achieved a racialized sense of empowerment in gender-specific ways as a material context for the productions of the gender discourses about Japanese women. This paper is built upon and aims to contribute to recent developments in international scholarship in the following three fields. U.S. Orientalism, the U.S. military occupation of Japan, and the Black-Asian relationship. First, more soldiers have been engaged in the project to complicate the still influential Edward Said's model of Orientalism by He's still criticizing, racializing, and gendering. Yes, I know y'all gonna make fun of me. My tongue twisters on this, but y'all can see it. Gender and the discursive formation of the ontological and all that stuff. Difference between West and East U.S. politics and cultures across time. All right, I got 2 more things to show y'all. Will nobody come for me now? Okay. Klein examines the popular U.S. representations of Asia and the Pacific within the specific historical context of post-war U.S. global expansion, Cold War culture, and Asian decolonization. She argues that the middle throw, let me make it bigger, hold on. Okay, the U.S.-Asian integration, both international and domestic levels, which was predicted on such values as interdependence, sympathy, and hybridity. More specifically, on the post-war U.S.-Japanese relationship, historian Nakio Shibashawa and America's Geisha Alla, Reimagining the Japanese Enemy, traces the remarkable reversal in the American public discourse of the Japanese from hated racial enemy to valuable ally within the intersecting ideologies of race, gender, and maturity during the 2 decades after World War II. However, these authors conceptualize the U.S. Orientalist views of Asia in general and of Japan in particular during the early Cold War period as a monolithic rather than heterogeneous discourse. Their exclusive attention to the coverage of Asians and the Japanese in, the Asians and the Japanese and the mainstream U.S. media leaves unexamined how the Black press among minority media negotiated U.S. Cold War Orientalist discourse in racialized terms in its representations of Japanese women. Okay, this is the last thing that I show you. Okay, I'm hot as hell. I'm sweating, y'all. Sorry. Okay, so it says, in occupied Japan, African-American, oh Lord, I'm hot. In occupied Japan, African-American soldiers were placed in privileged, okay, hold on now. In occupied Japan, African-American soldiers were placed in privileged positions and held considerable power and prerogative in their relation to Japanese citizens as members of the U.S. occupation troops, while they continued serving in segregated units and being discriminated against in the U.S. Army. Okay, so it's saying that the Black men, again, here they are in Japan, but they're privileged in Japan because they still represent the U.S. So they have power. This is a key thing. They feel they have power. Isn't this similar to the passport guys where they know they're considered broke in America, but when they visit a third world Asian country, they're now seen as powerful, which gives him more options to do what he wants to do and be like what he wants to be. See, this is key right here in this article. So again, it says in occupied Japan, the African-American men were placed in privileged positions and had power and a prerogative in their relationship with the Japanese people because they were still being treated like crap and not like men by the U.S. themselves. But all of a sudden, it's a little bit different now that I'm in this country and I represent the U.S. still. Okay, it says for the African-American GI soldiers who experienced greater racial acceptance among the local people, their encounters with Japanese men and women were influential in the reconfiguration of their racial perception beyond the social context of racial oppression and the narrow black-white dichotomy in the U.S. So it's different a little bit. Of course, now they're there. Okay. Their intimate sexual interactions with Japanese women became crucial. Their intimate sexual interactions with Japanese women became crucial for Black GIs to achieve the masculinized sense of empowerment within the specific racial and sexual politics in Japan. They felt like, hey, I'm dominating them. You're weaker, you're Japanese, you're thin, you're skinny, even though Black women were during the 50s. You have this, they mentioned it, the stereotypes of Japanese femininity. And here I am now. Yeah, the white man treats me like crap in America and I have to bow down, but I'm still I'm fighting for his country. It's still my country. country, but now you see me as more of a man. I have privileges because I'm from the US. I empower you. You are lower than me now, and now I feel masculine. It says their intimate sexual interactions with Japanese women became crucial for the black GIs to feel masculine. You can't feel masculine? What? Okay, but okay. Okay. And it says because of the specific racial and sexual politics in Japan, they're kind of really conservative, or used to be. You weren't talking about sex and all that in Japan. So maybe they felt like they were teaching them something. Oh, I'm going to break you. I'm going to break her. I'm going to break her in. They say stuff like that, right? So, okay. It says that again, they felt empowered and more masculine. The sense of empowerment within the specific racial and sexual politics in Japan, compared with the European women, the white women whose sexual relationships with black GIs in Germany caused racial conflicts among both the white American GIs and the Germans. Okay, so they're saying that the black GI soldiers were having sex with white women in Germany, and that the German men didn't like it, and the white American men didn't like it either. They didn't like it, period, and that it caused a conflict. Due to the existence of social taboos against black and white interracial sexuality on both sides of the Atlantic. Japanese women were more sexually acceptable for African American soldiers. Oh, y'all better read, look deep up in what's being said up in here, on what I'm reading to you. It says right here, Japanese women were more sexually acceptable for African American men, not only because of the absence of such taboos. I don't believe that at all. Asian people are racist too, just like anybody else. I do not believe. I mean, things change, but I don't believe they was all just willy-nilly. Oh, let's just all get together and have sex with each other, and everybody knows about. I don't know why I ain't believing that fully, but it's kind of like, okay, so you gonna get. You get into fights with the white man, whether he's German or American, and they're fighting each other, but that woman is still white. So it's conflict and they're ready to hurt you. So, but hey, the Asian Japanese woman is a little bit easier for me to go on to then. Okay. It says that the Japanese women were more sexually acceptable because of the absence of those taboos, but also because of the availability of the highly sexualized image of Japanese women and the U.S. Orientalism. Since when has Japanese women, especially during the 50s, been known to be highly sexual? I ain't never seen that or heard about that, but it's kind of like they're saying maybe this is something they heard. Maybe they heard it from white men soldiers. I don't know. I don't know if they talking to them like this. I don't know where they got this from. But I don't know. I'm not saying those women are perfect. There's a lot of freaky deakiness over in Japan as I speak. But during the 50s, it says that African Americans reappropriated and reinforced the pre-existing image of promiscuous Japanese women and the long tradition of Western Orientalism within the specific historical context of the U.S. military occupation of Japan. Okay, Frank A. Topsail, an Ebony magazine reader from Germany, questioned the sexual morals and behavior on the part of the Japanese women. Okay. He said, if you will check on the birth and sex rate in Japan, you will find that most of the girls of Japan are very sexually overtrained, really just because they got a lot of kids. The birth rate is one of the highest in the world. Well, that's what happens when you usually can have sex one time with your man or 2 times or 7 times a week, being that we have a menstrual cycle and eggs and you don't have condoms or birth control. You pretty much would be getting knocked up every single year. That doesn't mean that they're highly oversexual or experienced. Okay, it says that because of the birth rate is high, I assume they know what they're doing. I really cannot believe that most of these are cases. If so, what, on the soldier's part? This man said he invoked the dominant, sexualized, Orientalist representation of lewd Japanese women when he blamed the widespread interracial sexual relations. Why come I never heard of the black men and Japanese women during the 50s getting down like that? You know? I mean, I see, okay, it says that Topsail invoked the dominant, sexualized, Orientalist representation of lewd Japanese women when he blamed the widespread interracial sexual relations, either intimate or violent, in Japan on alleged sexual promiscuity. Excuse me, but there's no such thing as being promiscuous when you're being awed by a man. Of Japanese women and Japanese sexual culture without any consideration of the sexual morals of American girls. The black press was instrumental in the resexualization of Japanese culture, really, as well as Japanese women by observing the various forms of sexual encounters between American soldiers and Japanese women in Japan. Several articles reported on the Japanese sexual businesses catering to American GIs, the prostitutes, I guess, including cabarets, brothels, and geisha houses. Yeah, the prostitutes. Several articles reported on the sexual businesses catering to black men GIs, brothels, geisha houses, and expressed concern about the negative implications of such promiscuous Japanese culture on the morals of black soldiers. Oh my. Isn't this something? I think I could have skipped over some of what I read and just went to the last article, but isn't it something though? So this man wrote in the magazine that it's the Japanese people who are kind of sexual immoral, and the brothel houses and all that is going to corrupt the black man. It's going to corrupt the black man soldier. As if there's not any of that in America. And during the 1950s, I mean, prostitution is the oldest profession in known history, right? Oh my goodness. Melissa says Japan used to have football field long brothels. I mean, there is a reputation for the nail salons doing that type of stuff. I don't know if this is where it comes from too. You know what I'm talking about, right? So, isn't this interesting? Everything that I read. So, and sorry y'all for the words that I messed up. That was embarrassing to me. Y'all know I can read really well, but it is what it is. So, all right. It's pretty interesting. This is the 1950s. And they tell you to be like your grandmother. A ride or die, supportive of her husband, a pillar, the backbone. They always praising black women from this era because they were always fighting on behalf of black men the same way they do now. In the street, we were together in the struggle, civil rights. The black women were skinnier because, hey, I mean, like I said, it was different. Not so much GMOs in the food. The stress was there. It was different. But yeah, skinnier. No lashes at large. No lashes. No lace fronts. There were still out of wedlock kids, not on the level that you see now. Welfare was not like it is. The welfare crack epidemic, all of that was not the 1950s. Okay, so look at what I read to you, though. The black women were so hurt. Because, a lot would say, were they bitter? They love that word. No, they were hurt and humiliated. And said, once they get back to the U.S., here I am as a black woman. We're going through civil rights and all of that. I got your back the same way they do now, right? I am still representing my country. I have joined forces with you in my country. I'm in a foreign land in Japan. And my men, because that's how they talk and think. Here's my man, my men, my protectors who I go to, where I might find a husband who I'm in war with. And it was so bad They said they ignored them. Do you know what that's like for a woman, especially if you cute, to get ignored? You know, black women back in the day, I love the 50s style. They used to do the finger waves, the hairpins, the gloves, okay, the red lip, the pearls, the dresses. Okay, black women love, you seen the Harlem Renaissance pictures? Okay, Atlanta and stuff, looking good, representing them vintage photos. So here it is. They are in a foreign land and their peers, their men, literally it says ignored them and gave and lavished gifts on Japanese women. Lavished them with gifts and ignored them. Look at this. Listen, look at what I'm showing. 1950. I showed you the clip, 1980s, do the right thing. Same conversations you're having right now. Same thing, 1950s. Does that happen to all black women? A number of us are beautiful, but black men are not loyal like that, you know. And I'm not going to say other men, all men are curious about other women. All men want to hit, if you know what I mean, other women. That's just a fact. But they don't shun and ignore their women. They still date them and all of that, right? So yeah, the 1950s, 1980s, you better watch that clip on my from Do the Right Thing, what the women were saying. Early 2000s, J-Lo and Puffy, and then all of a sudden they're pursuing Hispanic women like crazy in this country. Now 2023. Same conversation, and it was before the 50s too. Did you not see my video about Nanny Barrows? Oh yes, I heard about the comfort women. Those Japanese women who were forced to be prostitutes, are in them. It was horrible what they did to them. I heard about the rape of Nanking. I think that might have been Japan or something. There's tension between other Asian groups of things that other Asian men did to other Asian women from different cultures, raping them with sticks, all types of stuff. It was terrible. They took photos of it. Terrible. I heard about that woman who was a comfort woman. She said imagine the infections. They wasn't even allowed to wash. She had to service men all throughout the day. These soldiers, she don't know. They make you. Pregnancies, STDs, vagina smelling bad, you buy it bad because you can't wash. You got to service them. It was terrible. I can't imagine what those women went through. I think that was Japan. The comfort women. So, oh my God. You know why? Something just came over me, y'all, before I look at these notes. Something in my spirit says, is this why so many women go to the white man throughout history? In so many countries, they go to the white man because their men be selling them and pimping them out. And the white man comes with more to offer, freedom in America, more freedom, more rights, rescuing you out of hell. You know, I think about women. There was something I saw this was like just a few years ago, how the Nigerian men are prostituting Nigerian women, the Nigerian guys all over Italy right now, how they lie to them and capture them and they end up having to prostitute in Italy. And I saw where one of the women, Nigerian women who was forced into that, the Italian white man, he paid the pimps, her black men pimps or whoever they were, he paid them off her freedom. He paid it off so they would release her, and then he married her. Lot of God, he says, this is why, yes. I'm not saying that all white men are perfect. They're not. But when I think about war-torn countries or where the women are extremely oppressed and the white men can do stuff too now, but in comparison to some of their countries and the freedom and coming to America where you'll get more rights, where he won't be doing some of those horrific things that happen in some cultures and stuff. I think that's why that's also the appeal of maybe that's the secret of why Asian women ended up into white men hardcore. I mean, no one can say, oh, we just want white. I mean, they're already pale as hell. A lot of Asians. Some of them are whiter than white people in complexion. you know. But maybe there's some, I mean, Asian women move in silence. A lot have said black women need to do it. Just do your thing with dating different races of men. But Asian women don't often reveal what was the real cause of why you abandon your men in record numbers. Because women don't usually do that unless there's a severe problem within their community or something with their men. I wouldn't blame Indian women or Asian women being mad about having to abort my damn girl baby. You telling me I can only have one child and you making me kill my children. I think some of them are salty about it, as they should be. Maybe that's why they're with that movement in South Korea talking about we ain't giving you no kids at all. All this controlling. I've seen the pictures talking about you trying to control my body and all this other stuff. I don't know all the details, and I know that's not the case all over the place. Every culture and community has issues within it. I'm just wondering, maybe there's some things we don't know about as to why they got fed up and turned on them like that. Maybe one day that'll come out. So, but it is terrible what happened to the Japanese woman as a comfort woman. So, look again, this is before lashes, lace fronts, out of wedlock kids, obesity, and all that stuff. And look what I read to you, what they did. And I want you to have empathy. Imagine what it's like for the black woman. Black women, again, are pro-black as hell now. A few are waking up. But a lot of them still fight for black men hardcore. He can do no wrong. Even if he do wrong, they don't care. They there. That's why you don't get respect. A man hates a woman like that. He can abuse you. He can do anything to you. You're just going to keep it. No, that's why they're turned off. A number of them. Have some self-respect and love for yourself. And, I believe in reciprocation. But anyway, imagine what the black woman was like in the 50s. This is during the civil rights, okay? And here they are again. Imagine what she's thinking. Number one, I'm in a foreign land. I'm fighting for the U.S. with you. You know damn well, because a lot of your grandmas love to preach, at least he got a job. That's a good man. He employed. That's all it took. It doesn't matter if he beats you up. It doesn't matter if he's effing everybody. It doesn't matter if he's gay. It don't matter. As long as he was employed and kind of good looking, that was enough for a lot of grandmas. Women took what they could get back in the day. That's why men are angry now, because a lot of women, I have the option if I don't want to put up with your crap. I don't have to be in hell with you, and it bothers men. I don't have to just accept what I don't like. So, these women from the 50s, these black women, they saw these. I know it. My spirit knows these women from the 1950s thought, these are good black men. Look at him. In his soldier suit, fighting. He's masculine. This is a man. He's employed. He's a soldier. He's a soldier. This is a man. And it's funny because in the article, it says that they felt more powerful in Japan, and then they felt masculine because even though I'm not looked at as a man amongst society, except by black women now, as has always been the case. In America, I come over here and now I represent the U.S. I represent the white man's powerful military I'm a part of, and I am a U.S. citizen. And here you are, Miss Japanese fragile woman, and now I can dominate you. And I get beat up by German and white American men for touching their women because she's still a white woman. But over here, you ain't really familiar with me like that. It's not as severe. So now I can feel more like a man because I can dominate another race of woman and all of that. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? So these women probably thought those black women probably thought these are my peers. Usually, the women follow where the men go. If it's a dance, another country, when men immigrate to other countries, they like to import the women back over. So they have wives and stuff. So I'm pretty sure their mentality was like, oh, my God, OK, yeah, I'm fighting with him in Japan. But this is my peers. This is my black man, my king. We're fighting for civil rights in the U.S. We're marching. We're getting dogs put on us. We're fighting the white man and woman for you. They're throwing shit in my face. They're kicking me. They're dousing me with water hose, all of that. But yeah, I'm fighting. And I need a job just like you. And you are employed. You're about something. You're still fighting for your country. We're going to get there. We're going to get to the promised land. You will always be a king in my eyes. I don't care what anybody says. Okay. And I'm probably going to find my husband here. You know, just like a college, I'm going to find my husband here in Japan, the black man, because we're stationed here together. I mean, we're in a foreign land. These Asians might not even like us. At least we have each other. At least we have each other. I'm cute. You know, I probably will meet my masculine, strong black man soldier. He's going to get all his badges, and then we're going to go back to the U.S. and build a family, only for her to end up, as they said, getting her ass ignored and him lavishing the money he got from his job on Asian Japanese women in Japan. Okay? Mm-mm-mm. Mm. Not only that, it's hurtful. Not bitter, hurtful. I'm pretty sure they felt humiliated. They probably questioned their femininity, their looks. No matter how pretty she was, that they would treat them like this. In a foreign land, here I am in a foreign land around Japanese men. I don't know. Where's my protection? You're ignoring me. How can I feel protected by you? You don't even talk to me. And I'm in a strange land. This is disgusting. And everything I'm saying, the irony, a black man right now will see this video and say, Cerebral, you sound bitter. Who hurt you? Because they don't care if they hurt you. They're not ready to go into the black woman's soul. Can you imagine what she felt in the 50s, those women there? In a foreign land, your men is ignoring you. You're around foreign men, a whole nother country during the 50s. You don't feel protected. You can't feel protected if your men don't even talk to you. Not only that, but as soon as he had the opportunity, listen, I know that men are interested. Every race, men and women, are interested in experiences with other groups of people they find attractive. If you find them attractive, let's just keep it real. Okay, plenty of men who aren't black have slept with women who aren't of their group, and some haven't. But y'all, I don't have to say, right? So ignoring them, hurting their feelings. So bad that they said, I will never talk to a black man once I get back stateside again who was stationed in Japan. It had to be hella bad for them to say that. And they probably left out a hell of a lot more in that article on how they were treating them. Probably. And I highly doubt, yes, some black women are attracted and secretly attracted to Asian men and vice versa. But during the 50s and stuff, the way we see black women now, I can say maybe there was a tiny sprinkle that might have had a secret relationship or was interested or lonely or thought he was cute, and maybe vice versa, he thought she was cute. But for the most part, I can guarantee you most of them, the majority, probably weren't checking for Japanese men when they were stationed there. They probably wanted their men, right? And it's 2023. Think about that. Again, imagine being in the 1950s during racial tensions that were worse than here now. The civil rights movement, fires, lynchings, segregation, not feeling loved in your own country, but still fighting for your own country in a foreign land, not feeling cherished or pursued by your own group of men. Remember, they were more together back then, according to black men and some women. It was different. That's what they always say. Why can't it be like grandma's time? It was so different. Everybody was so different, and everybody was black and proud and just loved, black women and stuff. And these women could do no wrong. They were the perfect wives, the perfect choice. Apparently that wasn't enough still once they were able to, get over to Japan. I always told y'all, they're not loyal. Once they get a taste, look what happened in England. I mean, it's just what it is. They're just not. That is the truth. Okay? So, and then getting ignored in favor of the Japanese women, buying and lavishing gifts on them. You ain't lavishing gifts on the black women. That's why the black man is where he is. You don't treat the black woman like no queen. I don't even want to hear that word. I'm sick of it. Give her queen treatment. I mean, don't get me wrong. You might get that in an individual relationship, but as a whole, for the collective, for the world to see, you can't say nothing to another group of men who said their woman is the best or put their woman on a pedestal Or, I mean, yeah, they like other women too. But they don't, you can like another group of women. You don't have to put yours down and disrespect them, though. You know, that's the difference, the big difference. So I wanted to share this with you to share some historical receipts. You see it here. It will be on my playlist section called Unveiled, Shocking History, covered up in the Black community. Check out those other videos again. So listen, y'all. I hope that you enjoyed this. Collard Green says white men been dating black women. Yes and no. I said at the beginning of the video, I mean, now it's more open. And I said that it will always exist, it always has existed. There will always be people who do interracial dating. We've never seen it so open now amongst both black men and women in interracial relationships, and society in some places accepting it more and all of that. And whether they do or not, it's my life. I can be with who I want to. The issue is so many of them lie on black women. They keep talking about, oh, be like your grandma era. They was this, they was that. Well, if that was the case, why they ignore them on the base and lavish Japanese women and treated them bad? They weren't even doing the stuff you claim is popular now, and they still did that. Okay, in the 80s and 90s, early 2000s. I mean, just stop the lies and the excuse. I mean, damn. So I wanted to share this. Black women, a lot of you are beautiful, and you know that. But with men who, you can't change a man. If a man don't want you, he don't want you. And that's his own personal reasons. But I don't want you to internalize these things or feel bad about yourself, because it can be hurtful, and it's okay for a black woman to admit, stuff like this, reading this might hurt me or embarrass me and stuff, or why they like this. What's wrong with them? I mean, no integrity, no pride, no respect for the women. Don't get me wrong. Again, a lot of people interracially date and swirl throughout history and currently, but the black man's disrespect, public disrespect, private, it's just, So y'all know how I feel. I feel black women. If a man's interested in you, you're interested in him, you're doing your thing. Why not? Why not go for it and see what happens? Why not? God made plenty of beautiful men on the planet who aren't black. They're good-looking men of all races. That's just a fact. And pretty women, beautiful women of all races. That's just a fact. But you need to wake up to just see that they have not been loyal to you for a long time, So wake up, and stop believing all their lies that if I only just stop wearing lashes and a lace front and stuff, it'll get better. That's why, you see? And the black woman making videos, yo, welfare, you did. No. That's not true. Okay. I shared what I shared, so I'm going to go ahead and go. Thank you all for joining me, and I cannot wait to read your comments after this. Okay. So, Kathleen King says black women should have been dating white men all the time. A lot of white men have hollered at black women, have approached so many times, and black women were scared what their parents would think, or the black so-called community. There's a lot of black women who have denied their own attractions to men interested because they're scared. I believe, why should you be so loyal for a group of men who aren't loyal to you? Not only that, just in life, period. If you don't pay my bills or take care of me, you ain't got no right. You don't do nothing for me. You don't take care of me. Who are you to control me? And you out here busting it wide and well, I won't say but, well, in some cases they are with men, but out here with who you want to be with and the women you need to be with. Why do I have to reject a man who thinks I'm beautiful and is trying to holler at me? And I think he's cute too, but most of all, what's his character like? Can he provide? What's his culture like? Will he be loving and all of that? Will he be a good father? Marie Baker says, this is why I don't understand why black women cape for them. Chief Rocka says this is not a big deal. GI stationed abroad since World War One have always dated out. Some married those women and children. Others did not. Not women. But some of them married the women. We know it existed, but it says that they ignored them. Have empathy. Why would you ignore them? Ignore. That means I ain't effing with you at all. I don't like you. I ain't talking to you. I'm not giving you the time of day. I'm only about these Japanese women. Here you are. APBXNY says it's the same thing right now. I don't know. I mean, a lot of the black women in the army, they got it together. They're in incredible shape. A lot of them. So I don't know. Let me see. It's getting bad though. It's already bad. I'll just tell you one thing I noticed. I was in a different state and I went to some really country like out there club. I was with someone and I didn't go there to go to the club. I was just there with this person because they had to do something real quick. So I went in and it was kind of smoky in there. The music was blasting. There were a few couches. Number one, they looked like they were I would say they looked like they were between the ages of 16 and maybe 20, 21. And the guys looked terrible. Sagging pants, dirty. I would never even talk to most of them in there. And the girls were pretty decent. But one thing that stood out to me that I said, oh my God, I'm like, oh, this is bad. Because this is, black guys in the South, it depends on the state. They're men from the North are different anyway. I mean, if a guy likes you, they will talk to you, but men in the North, they talking to you quick. Like they want to know who you are. They offer to take you to dinner or lunch on the spot. They about it. Not all of them, but a number of them. It's just different. But it depends, I'm sure Atlanta is different and it depends on what part of the South. The South can be known to be a little conservative in some parts, or like I said, there are sometimes if a man approaches you, it's like the world stops and everyone, they either assume you're sleeping together or they're looking like, oh, love match, oh God, this other, it depends on the part of the South. I wouldn't necessarily say that the South is completely conservative because the South has the highest HIV rates in the whole country. So clearly they're effing, but in some parts of the South, I mean, the men, they will marry you fast, though. They will marry you fast in parts of the South where they're still traditional like that. That does happen a lot, but they still have side women, and a lot of them are closeted in parts of the South. That's why the HIV rate is off the chain in certain parts of the South. But anyway, when I was at this club, I was in and out, but I just observed, and I'm like, this is bad. Like the guys were dancing with each other or in crowds, and all the girls, I looked at the black girls, their faces said it all to me. They were just sitting on the couch looking lost. They just sat there. The guys weren't interacting. And I'm like, oh my God, like, why are y'all even in here? Usually when you come to something like this, the whole point is to meet a girl, to meet a guy, to dance. Yeah, you have fun with your girlfriends. And like I said, they look like they were maybe 16 through 20, but younger guys that age are still anxious for a girl. And I was looking at some of the guys dancing together. And I'm like, you see these pretty black girls just sitting here. Why don't you ask her to dance? Why are you dancing with a boy? And the look on the girls' faces was like, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is so not right. This is not natural. This is not natural. And the guys, in my opinion, look terrible. But a lot of these young girls like terrible looking black men because that's like the norm now. I'm sorry to say that. But the way they be dressing and the way their hairstyles are, and just some of them just not attractive, but some of them are. But anyway, the girls look more decent than the guys in there. But I just observed how they weren't talking to any of them. And the girls look pitiful just sitting there. Like they look bored. They look confused, and I just observed it. And I'm like, what is wrong with them? Why are you dancing with guys? You came to the club. Y'all got the music playing. Yes, smoky as hell in the atmosphere. It's a little dim in here and all of that. But this is so weird. And this was a few years ago, and I just observed it like, this is not right whatsoever. This is totally unnatural and weird to me and sad. It's not like they were busted looking girls. They weren't. So, and they weren't obese. A number of them were skinny, had their hair done, and didn't have ugly faces or busted faces. But I saw their facial expressions where this is not right. It's weird. Weird. A lot of these guys today, they don't even approach girls, a number of them. They'll stare you down, keep looking, but then they don't have that confidence. Not like the grown man. That grown man who coming for what he want. He coming to get it. He gonna holler. He gonna say, you gonna be my wife, baby. I mean, you got a few like that. It depends on the area too, again. But it's a damn shame. A damn shame. So, Chicky Chick says black women must move in silent mode. Yep, they do like them Asian women. Them Asian women ain't really talking about why they did what they did. They just didn't. And you can show them better than you can tell them. Yeah, we talk about this world because a lot of black girls, I hear people used to get so mad at me. So I'm telling you, I've had so many people tell me to shut up. Why you keep talking about interracial? Be quiet. Because they mad. They scared. They scared I'm going to influence. Like, I can't make you like somebody you don't like. I can't make you attracted to someone you're not attracted to or think somebody's cute. It's whatever. But I think you would be a fool to just date only one group of men. It makes no sense, especially when the marriage rates are extremely low and they seem to hate a number. Like, why would you? No. I mean, they don't all feel like that. If you're cute, they still look, but the whole allergic to commitment or marriage, that's a problem. Not only that, a man who could provide a good career, a family man, a good father. Okay, you don't want to be in Blackistan. Stay far away from Blackistan. So, hi, Faith. Okay, so I hope younger black girls and older ones, whatever, I hope you're listening because I saw a quote that I love. It's just so true. It says, you are one decision away from something that will change your entire life. I think it says something like that, where one decision you make can affect your whole life. Get pregnant by the wrong man. Whew. Over, baby. Just halfway. I mean, if he's not going to be there for the kids, you have to end up maybe on welfare to take care of the kids and food stamps. Your kids effed up because they didn't get love from their daddy, or your son's out of order, or your daughters with abandonment issues, all of that stuff. You are one decision away from anything that can affect your life. Rejecting the wrong man. A man not black might try to talk to you. He looking good, smelling good, and he's really serious. But you're scared, like, oh, I can't do it. I can't. He ain't. Oh, what are they going to think, people? Or I heard this and that about them. I heard that. Oh, I don't know. That could have been the greatest man you ever had in your life. Probably marry you, take care of you, have his kids. You don't have to end up suffering, eating crackers in a nursing home every day. Stuff like, you just never know. You never know. And that's just life, period. Any man, you never know who the right one could be all the time. Sometimes you believe and you are sure you know. You believe with everything in you. But in some cases, you don't, and sometimes y'all rejecting men who's trying to talk to you because he's not black, or you make assumptions about his manhood, if you know what I mean, which is ridiculous. I might have a call-in show about that. And you might have missed the greatest man you will ever have in your life that will treat you. I've seen so many black women on TikTok saying once they did give it a shot that they were treated amazing and felt so feminine and dainty and taken care of. Paul Walker, y'all already know. So you know, the whole moving in silence, Kathleen King. I mean, we talk about swirling because Black women need a support system. It's so many people, not just Black, who might have an issue, and you need someone to talk to about it, or maybe you are interested in him, but you're nervous and scared, or you think certain things is going to happen. But yeah, I feel like if I'm a date a guy not Black, I don't have to announce it. I just do it, you know. But it to me, Black women are kind of doing that. Like I see Black women on TikTok and right here on YouTube every freaking week getting wiped up and having these beautiful weddings. I'm like, it's happening. It's happening. It is truly, truly happening. And it's not to be in competition with anybody. It's Black women are worthy and a number deserve love and are beautiful women. Why not? He's interested. I'm interested. Why not? You know, I understand some had this dream and stuff, but look at reality. I mean, there are certain parts of this country, it's like all over the place, Black men with women not Black. I mean, you look foolish out here only caping and only wanting to stay within. No. But if it's what you want, then do it. I don't believe in trying to make a woman not want what she want. If you want what you want, but you also need to date well, and because you're, like I said, when it was a girl who called in, she was like 25. Oh, I want a Black husband. I said, okay, but most Black men are going to call you old at 30. At least these days they're doing that. Even if you do look good, they still look if you're over 30. But they do that online. They try to shame you. And I'm like, okay, so that gives you 5 years. A lot of them don't even commit on average. So you better serious, and you're not even dating. You have to date a lot just to find your king, right? If you're only going to stay in this dating pool. Black women have to stop wasting time. That is a severe problem. Dating one guy for 7 years. Why would you do that? He didn't wife you up or anything. He don't even like him that much. He ain't even handling things, not even in the bedroom a lot. And you still just sitting there because you just want a man, or you're scared to be seen as a so-called hoe because you're dating. It makes no sense. Or you believe in this loyalty, we got history bullshit. Girl, please. It's a new day. Abundance Creative said, just do it, like Nike. Just do it, Black woman. Just do it. Okay? Some of them do collard greens. Some of them do, but a number of them have a reputation for not, and that's also why they're going to lose the Black woman. No more terrible love and sex lives at all. No woman wants that at all. No, absolutely not. So, and we want intimacy and romance and courting like other women to bring out more of that femininity. How can the Black woman always be a butterfly if she ain't being treated like a butterfly? A woman responds to love and affection. She needs compliments. She needs affection. She needs hugs. She needs kisses. She needs some gifts sometimes. She needs to feel like the queen, like the baby, like she's special, like you really want her. A lot of Black men are terrible in that area with romance, a good portion of them. And it's like, it is not shocking at all. Y'all think it's a game. The white man, the Asian man, the Arab man, the Latino man, they gonna scoop your woman up. Y'all think it's funny or a game. Keep on thinking that, because I see them with them beautiful weddings all the time and love stories. It's just beautiful. So I wish you all well in your love lives, no matter who you want to be with. And I'm happy to share these receipts again. If you have any stories or historical tea, or anything you want to share, anything, there is my email right there. You can hit me up. Okay. So thank you all again for joining me. Bye, everybody. Have a good night.